Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back. On this episode, we're going to talk about positioning and reaction. We're going to call it Find the Right Moment. Find the right moment, which is an easy thing to say. People talk about it a lot in World of Tanks, both in relation to positioning and reacting to the battle. Gaining the initiative, forcing the initiative, keeping the initiative, pushing, all those words having to do with finding the right moment. So it's one thing to say it. We can all say it. We can all probably explain it to some extent, at least in broad terms. But let's look at an example. So we come in here. I have loaded into a proc, and I'm in my P-44 Pantera, top tier in a 357, which is a great matchup for a tier 8 tank. A tank like this will excel on this map with an autoloader, plus the ability of the Italian tanks to reload relatively quickly, a shot to be effective with instead of waiting for the entire clip to reload. Got a scout working around the middle. So the first thing I do is I'm going to come up to the middle, and that's the positioning part, right? If I'm going to find the right moment, I have to be in the right position. Every map is different. The example on proc is I'm up on the 5-6 line. Why? Because the 5-6 line can support the hill, and it can support this side over here, plus it can keep tabs on the middle. Because if they have any smart players, they will also have some on their side of the 5-6, looking to get shots into the side of the hill if we get guys go up there, looking to shoot us if we're not wary and they've got good gun depression, and looking to shoot across at anyone they see over on that side as well. So I position myself on one of the more important spots of the map, looking for the right moment. The thing I'm doing right now, though, and this is interesting on this map, is I'm trying to stay unlit for a while. If there were less artillery, and there are 3 on each side, I'd have already come up to about this bush and taken a quick look, see if I can sneak a shot into somebody being unwary coming up here, because this is a fast tank and it's able to do that. I choose not to do that because there are 3 artillery. So now I'm just staying down below the ridge, and I'd rather not get the artillery's attention early so that then all 3 are looking at the 5-6 line. It's usual enough that they are anyway if they have any idea about the map, but if I can keep them from knowing where I am for at least a little while, I can get my forces spread out a bit and let this develop. Again, early damage is good, and if there wasn't artillery, I'd already been poking and prodding just a little bit. You also want to be careful about this time in the game, because their fast tanks will be approaching the top of the hill. So if you start poking and prodding about right now, or maybe you're engaged with somebody actively shooting at them, the timing is about right now, a minute in, minute and a half, they're going to have somebody up on that hill able to get shots on your side. So you've got to kind of consider where they can be and when they will be there. That's all part of finding the right moment. So I'm going to let this thing develop a little bit. We get a decent spread of tanks, although we have a considerable amount of campers. We got a good group of players over on the 1-2 line. We have a couple that went up the hill. Unfortunately, some campers up in the northeast. That's not very helpful. Looks like the Tiger 1 is potentially AFK. Finding the right moment is sometimes as simple as seeing a shot like that and taking advantage of it with the defender. He gets lit, gets hit. I'm able to come up without really exposing a whole lot of myself. Zooming in, and the good news for me is he gets down to a 1 shot right before I pull the trigger, and we're able to take him down. They push in with a T-150. He goes crazy, loses his mind, and there's about the first time I'm lit. So now they know I'm around. Actually, it might be the second time. So I now have to expect some kind of artillery. I come up here, there's another moment. I saw that guy looking a different direction. Unfortunately for me, I actually bounce off of his turret. Why wouldn't I? And now we've got a Scorpion. That shot goes wide. And this is the reason you're on this part of the map on 5-6. If you get some lights on guys sitting up on that hill, they can be quite exposed. Unfortunately, they killed one of our guys on the hill. Now this isn't looking great on the hillside. I have not been able to get the shots I wanted. No one's really lighting them. The Tiger 2 looks to be pinned down or scared. I'm moving around a bit in here looking for these shots, but there just doesn't seem to be anything going on. They've got a guy in cap now. The 501 crossed over. I'm looking at those 2 campers back there, and this is not looking good. So part of reacting to the battle, assessing the battle, and finding the right moment is deciding where to go when something isn't working out. And this isn't working out. So I'm looking around, kind of deciding what I want to do. Noticing that the E25, the WZ, which has a nice gun, the 43 and a 12T, the Scout, are all working on this side. So I'm going to isolate the east side of the map from being able to shoot me. I'm going to come all the way back over to the west side of the map and see if we can't work these guys off the map. We can work it out over here, take these guys out, and then we can come around behind them. So I take a snap getting into this bowl. This is a bit of a risk, but things are not going great. We're down 2-4, and we have nothing going on the west. So we've got to do something over here. And this KV-2 has to go. I'd also like to get that P-43 BAIS, but I can't quite see him. The scout goes raging in there. I'm not really sure. Kind of loses his mind. Lights up the Su-100, which I did not notice initially. I'm still trying to get this KV-2. I probably could have shot the heck out of the Su, but KV-2 is the one I want down, right? Got somebody behind me. Take a shot on that anyway, because I don't want to expose too much. And now I've got to wait for some reloads. But we're working on this side over here. I know that Scorp is up on the hill. I know the 100Y, at least for the moment, seems to be AFK. That's helpful. That leaves a Challenger, which appears to be over on the 7 line, so he can't shoot me. So as I'm assessing what they have over here, they just don't have a whole bunch. It'd be nice if that Su-100 was still AFK. Finding the right moment. Now we're pushing forward. Looks like he is. I see him over there, so I'm going to come up, help finish him off. As far as shooting AFKs go, prioritize things that are shooting at you. But if you've got an opportunity to take one down, go ahead and do so. That way it doesn't come alive. Excuse me, it doesn't come alive at the worst moment, i.e. you're pushing in and all of a sudden he's alive and shooting you because you've been ignoring him. The other thing about it is he's lighting you, right? So if you can kill him as you're approaching or kill him before you approach, then you don't have that passive scout sitting there lighting you up the whole time. I've seen that happen on the Cap, people just sitting there letting the guy light you and getting wrecked by people outside of spotting distance because you don't kind of think about that AFK guy. You're like, well, he's not playing, but actually he sort of is. He's spotting. Scout lived through that thing. We push on in here, and this is the find the right moment end game. This is not a sure thing at all. I get some artillery. Bizarrely, 2 of them still had a shell ready as we came over. They must have seen us coming. I'm going to chase them back over. He goes down, unfortunately. I'll just shoot him. He goes down, and we're able to take the artillery out, and that changes the fight considerably. Challenger's about to go down. First thing I'm going to do is maybe take a shot at him. He's dead, so we'll switch over to the Sturv. And I have gone to HE somewhere in the scrum. I'm not really sure. It might have been when I got tracked. I was trying to fix something or inadvertently hit 3. IS-2 is the last guy alive. He comes over here, looks at me. I'm thinking, well, he's going to hit me, but let's just zoom in. I'll take my damage from him and get a shot in. He ends up dying. That's 7 kills, about 1,900 damage, which wasn't amazing. But it's a good example of initial positioning and then finding the right move, when to change flanks, when to push. This is a great map for it because it's so fluid. It allows you to get from side to side. It's not channelized. I mean, you think about it, I moved across nearly this whole map without having to go down one alley or another, which is why I like this map so much, and it's a good example of that kind of gameplay. Obviously, top tier gives you a lot of flexibility. Alright guys, hope you learned something. Hope you like what you saw here. If you did, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you.